All right. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Podcast. I am your host, Beckie Flowers, along with my co-host here, sarahbudzz.
Hey guys, we are live from my living room.
Live from the infamous living room. It's the coziest little living room ever.
I love my space. That's like main goal is just make my area just zen. And that was like ultimate goal with my entire house.
That honestly is the best word for it. It's just very zen. There's plants. It's
a vibe.
It is a vibe. It is a vibe.
So we've had a very long, productive day today. Obviously, Beckie's in town. This is going to be our second episode that we have recorded today so far. We're just hammering them up.
We are very caffeinated and ready for bed.
Yeah. So. Nothing makes sense. But we were trying to figure out like what we kind of wanted to talk about, and I brought up, hello, Toby. I brought up something that it could get really deep. Toby, stop. That's not yours. Come on over, Bob.
He's fine.
Come on.
So Sarah asked me while we were sitting here, let's talk about purpose. Do you want to talk about purpose? And my first initial thought was purpose in what? In life, in the podcast, in motherhood,
it's multifaceted.
It is. So we're going to dive into this. What is your purpose? And okay. So you said that you know what your purpose is.
I think more recently I've come to the realization of it. And it's like, I always knew in some capacity that like I was always meant to help people, right? But how? And I really think with just everything that I have gone through over the course of the last year now, really honed in on conducting myself in the way that I want to be portrayed, and also shedding those certain traits and ways that I deal with things onto those around me, and being able to, I guess my purpose, I think, is more so being purposeful to other people. So helping people in capacities of helping them realize their potential, maybe thinking about things in a different way, different coping mechanisms, through my actions. So really, I guess just like leading by example, I guess you would kind of frame it, because looking back at all of the things that I've experienced, especially over the last year and a half, I'm really happy with a lot of the ways that I handled myself through certain situations, and being able to assess before you act, control your emotions, and really just push through and realize your strength is so much more than we give ourselves credit for. And I think shedding that light onto people, helping them realize their potential, that's like the basis of my purpose.
That's big. Let's unpack that a little.
There was a lot there.
There was a lot there. I love it because I can see that, and you have had that impact on me. So like that's firsthand. Yes, that is 100% true. Like you just being you, but then also holding space for people to find their potential for themselves is what you do.
So it was it was told to me by one of my mentors, and it's like I would always try to give them credit for a lot of the things that I've learned. And I was told, I just led you to the door, but you had to walk through it. And I find myself applying that in a lot of my conversations with people. It's like shining this little light, being like, hey, here's the path, like, go check it out. Right.
And it's their choice.
Yeah. And you can't force people into bettering themselves or making positive changes or anything like that. It's obviously they have to want it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't make changes for anyone else, sustainable changes for anyone else other than you. And that goes deep into, why do you want to make these changes?
Yeah.
And this is so broad, right? This is so fucking broad. This could be applicable to anything, but giving those little like nuggets of just making people's brains like process things in a different way, and just giving like little, I guess, like golden nuggets here and there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And watching that prompt people into thinking, becoming more self-aware, and then acting, like, that's what I live for. That is the shit that lights me on fire. There is nothing more like gratifying to me than watching someone grow into themselves, stand up for themselves, and take action on what is best for them.
I concur. Honestly, that is it's exact, like I said, that's exactly what you've done for me. So how did you find your purpose? Like, what led you to this realization?
I think just living through what I've lived through over the last couple of years, there's been a lot of things thrown at me, and holding my composure and constantly putting myself in those uncomfortable situations and confronting my own fears and just being living proof of that, of constantly just taking the plunge, whether you're fucking terrified or not.
Mm-hmm.
And being on the other side of that and being like, I wouldn't have done anything differently. Like taking that chance on yourself, because it always plays out. There's going to be hard times. There's going to be hard shit. But there's a bigger plan. Timing will always play out as it's supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
And being on the other side of that, it's like I'm still going through constant shit. You know that.
Yeah. Yeah. Constant sagas.
And but having that faith of like, this is all purposeful. There's a lesson in all of it, right? Whenever a curveball is thrown, that's something that I've been apt to ask myself more recently is, what is this teaching me? What is this teaching me?
I love that.
And being able to find that and apply that in some sort of way of growth has been monumental for me. And I think having conversations with those in my circle about whatever is happening in my life events, and just realizing like I know I don't give myself enough credit, but like I'm very resilient, and as time goes on, I'm starting to realize that and give myself more of that credit. But also these other people seeing what I've gone through and just trying to like prompt and like inspire, being like, don't let your fears limit you.
Yeah.
Because once I stopped getting out of my own way is when like really cool shit happens.
I agree. So really finding your purpose was just through you going through the hard shit and the life lessons that you were able to realize, because we all will go through shit, but I think the choice is if you're going to learn something from it.
Yes.
Or if you're going to just be a woe is me.
Yep.
Life is so hard for me.
And that's really big too, is you can tell what kind of person someone is by how they handle things like that, right? Like, do they feel sorry for themselves, or are they trying to, guys, I need to move this microphone because like, look at Toby. Oh my goodness. You're so precious.
He's so cute.
Anyway, how do they handle it, right? Are they in that victim mentality and just being like, why is this happening to me? Or frame it in a different way of, what is this teaching?
What is this teaching me? Yeah.
And that's been such a game changer for me, because there's a lesson in everything. There's some way that you can grow and be better. Am I perfect? Fuck no. But I'm gonna figure it out. You know, when hard shit happens, sit through it, process it, and then figure out what your solution is. And that's been the biggest thing for me, is when a problem arises, it's like, okay, how do I solve it? Not, fuck, this sucks, I'm going to sit here and just cry about it.
I agree.
Let it bury me. And there's those people that do that. And quite frankly, I don't want those people around me.
No, because I call them like energy vampires.
Yeah.
Well, that's from a book, but it's an energy vampire where they are going to suck the life out of you. I also do want to say that if you are listening and you're like, damn, I'm one of those people that is those self-wallowing in my own shit type of person, you can change. Like, just because you are that right now does not mean that you can't, in the next hard thing that comes along, be like, what is this teaching me?
Right.
Because I was very much so.
It's a choice. It's an instant choice.
It is.
And once you make that first choice of deciding growth over pity, it's just that continued decision over and over again.
It just becomes a habit.
Yeah. You'll gain momentum in that way. And it's such a game changer in the progress that you'll make in every facet.
Well, I was thinking when you were saying that what is this teaching me? We very much both know that when you don't look at the lessons that you are trying to be taught, what God is trying to teach you, He will continue to try to teach you that. And you will be taught that over and over again. Even if you don't recognize that is a teaching moment, that moment is going to keep coming up. So the faster that you start thinking, what is this teaching me? The faster you're able to learn from it, grow, and go on to the next learning lesson instead of learning the same lesson 10 times over for the next 10 years.
And if you don't learn it, you'll be fucking rocked.
You will. He will bring you to your knees to learn it. And let me tell you, it's not fun.
But the growth thing isn't ever. I mean, like, it's cool to look back on, right? See how far you've come in certain areas. But like, going through the hard shit sucks.
It does.
Putting yourself in uncomfortable situations of calling yourself out on your shit and taking responsibility. And then moving forward in a different way than you ever have before, because the way that you have has only gotten you to where you are. And that's the biggest thing, is just it's constantly adapting and, handling things in a different way and putting yourself in uncomfortable situations and trying new things, flipping your world upside down.
Flipping those tables. Yeah.
But that's my biggest, most impactful purpose, is I think prompting those changes within people and making them realize for themselves how much more resilient and strong they are than they give themselves credit for.
I love it. I love it very much.
No,
Man, now I'm thinking about mine.
Well, you had said you feel like you have multiple purposes.
I do. And I feel like they all kind of intertwine because I have a purpose as a mom, right? I have a purpose to these 3 humans that I'm responsible for. I have a purpose to my clients. I have a purpose to my friends. I have a purpose through competing. And they all kind of filter back into showing what's possible. And I'm not stealing yours, but I feel like it's very much aligned with like showing resilience of what is possible through my life stories. And just I'm very empathetic, and I always have been, and I've always been told that I'm too sensitive. And I feel like I kind of found that superpower recently of it's okay that I'm too sensitive because I'm able to hold space for people that I normally wouldn't be able to, or a normal person wouldn't be able to hold the space for that person. I also have gone through a lot of things in my life that I'm able to call myself out on some shit and able to then call other people on their shit as well. And it's prompted a lot of growth in a lot of people, and it's removed a lot of people from my life as well. But
it's purposeful though, right? Like it filters out the ones that should and should not be there.
Yes. Yeah. And maybe it's not for a season, maybe it's not forever, but yeah, I feel like that's really my purpose. And really my purpose with motherhood is to raise some damn good humans.
The world needs more of them.
We need more of them. We need more kids that are resilient and that are able to be just more mentally there.
Yeah, I feel like, especially with like the whole pandemic and everything, like that prompted just a spiral of fucking madness in the world. And now you have all these kids with like that just have like no social skills.
Yeah.
And it's wild. It's so wild to me. And I have always admired your way of parenting and just the core values and practices and disciplines that you include in your parenting, because we need more parents like you in the world.
Well, thank you, because it's hard in this world. It is hard.
Yeah, and it's not, I know firsthand, I mean, I know it's not easy. You have the weight of the world on your shoulders, and keeping it together and still raising your kids, like you do a fucking awesome job, and you don't give yourself enough credit for that.
No, because I feel like if you give yourself too much credit, then you stop. Like there is no time to stop. We just keep executing.
It's like bodybuilding. Yeah,
exactly. But I will say I've grown into this type of parent through bodybuilding. bodybuilding really has
Mhm.
been that purpose for me in bringing all of this out. So I like going into finding my purpose. I really think I found my purpose through bodybuilding. I was so lost
I love that.
pre 2021.
I love that so much because just like we've talked about so many different times, like bodybuilding can teach you so many things that are so relevant to life in so many areas.
Mm-hmm.
And like we always say, like everyone should just do at least one prep. Like you truly can learn like what you're made of through a prep. And it hits so many different areas.
It really does. And even if you don't do a prep, like doing the Live Hard program that Andy Frisella put out, I think that is very much like a prep without having to get down to stage lean.
Mhm.
So if you're listening to this and you're like, I could never do a prep, one, don't say that because you could. But then two, look into that program because I think that's very much like a prep.
Yeah, it's just disciplines that you practice and oh my God.
I'm not a cat person, you guys, and he is the most dog-like cat I've ever met.
And everyone that meets him says that. Like, I wish you guys could like move the microphone because like he literally just put his arms over my hand.
And if you're listening to this, I'm sorry, you should go to our YouTube. He's so cute.
He's so cute.
I don't know if
Unreal.
you can see it. All right. Purpose. Back to purpose. I don't.
It's just all like encapsulating. I think in both of ours because they're both very similar. And I feel like once you find that spot within yourself that like we've both found through bodybuilding, those disciplines and really just like learning that you can do hard things. And once you like see the light of that and other people see you live through it, it's inspiring to them.
Yes, that is what it is. I don't know. You probably hear this all the time too, but I always hear you're so inspiring. And it's almost to the point where I'm like, please stop telling me that. Like you're making me uncomfortable. Just stop because we're nothing special. He's so sweet. We're nothing special. Like we just do
what we have to
every
do.
day.
And I don't think enough people do that.
No.
I know enough people don't do that.
No, and that is why we are at the state of the world that we're in.
There's an audio of a reel, and I think it was David Goggins. And it starts off with him saying, it's so easy to be great nowadays.
The bar is so low.
Yeah.
The bar, literally.
It's so true. Like, average is so below average nowadays that, like, just doing things that you should do to take care of your life and your body is, like, considered, like, super.
Yeah.
And, like, we should be applauded for that. And like you say, like, don't applaud a fish for swimming. It's that. It's like, I'm just like every human like should be doing these things. And I feel like this goes back to so many of our conversations of where we're like, I couldn't even imagine how people just go through life and they don't like regularly go to the gym or pay attention to what they're eating.
Yeah. Meal prep or eat protein at every meal.
Yeah, just being cognizant of what you're putting in your body.
Yeah.
For damn sake. Like, imagine not caring. Like, I can't.
So this is so weird for me because I came from that background of not caring. And like when Joe and I first started dating and in quite a few years of our relationship, it was we were eating out all the time. And I used to care a lot. And then I met him and I really like we would eat out all the time. We would never grocery shop. And if we did grocery shop, it was a whole bunch of like the basic American meals. Like we wouldn't have a veggie, or it would be like canned green beans for a veggie. So looking back on that lifestyle and thinking back to that mentality, I get it because it was easy.
Yeah.
And
it's convenient.
It is. It's the convenience of it.
How convenient is it actually?
It's not, because it's expensive and you feel like crap.
Yeah.
So then you are reacting in your relationship like crap. You're not showing up well for your kids. You're not showing up well for your job. So really just these simple things
Or
that you
yourself.
can switch, or yourself. We always put ourselves on the back burner. But switching those little habits, it makes such a difference.
Yeah. We got way off topic here.
We really
dig
did.
it.
We
It's
really
okay.
did.
It's totally fine. Wrapping it up into, I mean, bringing it back into purpose, just even having a purpose, you know?
Just even thinking about what your purpose is. You kind of like blew me out of the water.
Oh,
when you
I
asked
know.
me.
I know. I saw your face, your facial reaction. I wish we could have recorded it when I like initially I was like, we should talk about like our purpose. And you're like,
Oh. I feel like now I have to journal on this because I mean, I have a 5-hour drive home tomorrow. And that's what we're going to talk about in my head.
Yeah.
Myself and I.
Yeah. But like it can't get deep. But I really do think that no, it's something that I'm good at, is just being living proof of the shit that I've endured. And people notice, people watch, and you don't even realize it. And having that impact on people where you don't even know until maybe one day they decide to like message you or see you in person, and just they like make a little comment of just like something that they watched you live through. And for that to be like, well, now I think about this in a certain way. I just had like one of my clients message me the other day. She's like, it was in her check-in. And she was like, when I'm training, I feel like I just have a little Sarah in my brain telling me like to go harder, because I could either try and maybe fail at this, or I can stay where I know that I can get it done and stay comfortable and not make progress. And I'm like, fuck, I love that. Like, I love being that. Like, someone thinks of me to prompt their growth. And like,
that's the coolest shit.
That's what lights my soul on fire.
That is the coolest shit. And you might never even know that you made an impact.
Yeah.
But the ripple effect of that is going to be huge.
Yeah. And just being, like I said, living proof of doing the hard shit and shedding that light onto others. And there's just nothing more gratifying for me than watching someone for once not second guess themselves. Sorry. or push themselves in a way that they didn't know that they could, and then they did it, and then they're proud of themselves, right? Like, that is everything.
That's the coolest shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That was a good topic.
I know I really caught you off guard with it.
You still, honestly, I'm still kind of like rocked. That's why I don't have much to say. So I'm gonna put the homework out to all of us.
Yeah.
To journal on what your topic is. Or what's your topic?
What your purpose
What
is.
your purpose is.
What your purpose is.
What is your purpose?
And if you feel so inclined to message us, and maybe this prompted you to start thinking about it, And you don't even have to share it with us, but just like, if this made you think in any way of what your true purpose for being on this earth is.
Damn, that's deep.
Let's hear it.
What is your true purpose for being on this earth?
I feel like we have to do a follow-up episode for Beckie on this.
I do. I need to process.
All right, guys.
Part 2 coming.
We'll see you guys next week. Thank you for tuning in. This is unbelievable, guys. Like, look at this cat. He's just like the best thing that has ever happened to me.
He's so sweet.
Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week.